What are you doing? It's Wednesday. What? No, what? It's Thursday. You're actually live. Oh my gosh. Oh, shoot. How did you even... Gosh, this is awkward. Okay. How did you... Whoa, okay. How did you even get here? I can't, okay. Oh, nice playlist. Hi! Hello, humans of the interwebs! Welcome to eSpot Live. This is awkward. This is Rodney. I'm Ellie. This is a little frightening. Rodney went rogue. Please don't... Oh, you know what? I know what this is. This is payback for when I accidentally removed him from his perch the last time. I apologize profusely. Won't happen again. Please don't. Just stay. Hello! Welcome to eSpot Live! This is new. As you all know, I'm Ellie, this is Rodney. Apparently, on the 1st of April, Rodney goes rogue. Okay, I know that was like just such a bad setup, but that's all I could think of to do that was innocent enough for April Fools. Hello! Alright, I always start off eSpot Live with some disclaimers. First disclaimer of the day, obviously, Rodney's gone rogue, so that's fun. Second disclaimer, aside from me being a dork, is I've been having a little bit of internet trouble, which I haven't had in a while, but I do want to give you guys a heads up because I'm not quite sure what caused the issues when I was trying to do my setup. It is fixed. You guys are here. You're responding, so that's a good sign. But I do want to make sure you guys are prepared in case something goes a bit wonky. Please, as always, let me know in the chat. And then we can move on. I'm glad Silly Fun thinks that was brilliant and beautiful. I mostly thought it was awkward, but it was worth it because it was a fun little bit. I threw myself off, though. I have, like, a pattern and a way I go through this. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I do have some semblance of a plan, typically, when I do these. And I threw myself off with my own bit. Hey-oh, but okay. Yeah, I think the only disclaimer really was the internet. So, yeah, you guys are prepared, so we can jump right in. Catching up on the chat really quick. We had a fantastic discussion of why the show was Rodney instead of me. I appreciate that. Y'all are awesome. Wolf says, and I missed it. Oh. Got it. There was a comment somewhere in there. We'll go back through that later. For now, though, I'm going to go ahead and jump into news topics. So eSpot Live is a show where I chat about entertainment news topics, and I just kind of babble a bit. So welcome. Oh, we've got Pro Mommy Gamer in the chat. Hello, haven't seen you in a while. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is exciting. Wolf is saying that they missed me gaming. Got it. Yes. It is archived on YouTube if you want to check it out in all its awkward glory, and it'll happen again. So I'll have solid news on that at the end of the show. For now, though, let's go ahead and jump into news topics. Yay! First up is we're going to talk about pasta because that's related to entertainment news. It actually is. But I also just love pasta. So, from restaurant menus to the grocery aisle, you can find pasta in all shapes, sizes, colors, etc. You can get ears and elbows and bow ties and just lots of accessories and body parts. That sounded awkward. Anyways, all of these, however, were imperfect and just inadequate in the eyes and mouths of award-winning podcast host Dan Pashman. So, in case you don't know who Dan is, he is the creator and host of The Sporkful, which is a food podcast that he created after getting laid off from his radio job. So, on the podcast, he started a 5-part series called Mission Impossible. Guys, if you don't know me, just know this. I love puns. I adore them, and so that just makes me happy. Anyways, this particular 5-part series was a crusade to engineer a brand new pasta shape in the hopes to push aside his least favorite noodle. So he's quoted as saying, I mean, look, spaghetti is fine. I'll eat any pasta you put in front of me and if I'm hungry. But it's just a tube. It doesn't do very much, and I just think we can do better. So Pashman's quest started at the source itself with a trip to North Dakota, which surprisingly enough is the home of to most of the country's wheat for pasta. Who knew? Learn something new every day. If you're really, really wanting to get into the history of pasta, check out North Dakota. That's most of what you'll find there. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Anyone from North Dakota, I love and appreciate you. So in this quest in North Dakota, he learned about semolina, which is the flour he used to make his pasta. Along this journey to create the perfect pasta shape, Pashman created 3 metrics in which to judge all pasta shapes. This is very important. So the 3 metrics are what? Forkability. This is how easy it is to get onto your fork and keep it there. That's valid. I just gotta say, because some of my favorite pasta shapes don't stay on the fork. They're fun to look at, but hey, forkability. Sauceability. How readily does sauce adhere to the pasta? And then the third is tooth sinkability. And this is how satisfying is it to sink your teeth into the pasta. A lot of pasta shapes are great at 2 of these 3 things, but very, very few nail all 3, according to Pashman. Even armed with its very own vocabulary, Pashman's idea quickly proved more difficult than he realized it would be, as he struggled to get a pasta dye company to take him seriously. Which is great. Who wouldn't take you seriously with your own lexicon of forkability, sauceability, and tooth sinkability? I think it's brilliant, but, you know, hey. Once, you know, even he got over that hurdle, he was hit with yet another. When the pasta shape that he had engineered turned out to be physically impossible. Yeah. So he's quoted as saying, I wanted this combination of Mafalda and bucatini so it would have a tube component and a ruffle component. But the dough only passes through the die for a split second. So it just didn't really work. Pasta had absolutely taken over Pashman's life as he sunk nearly $10,000 of his own money into the project. You know what? If I had $10,000 to spare, I can't guarantee that I wouldn't spend it on pasta. But I would like to believe that I would have something to spend it on other than pasta. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that he has more than $10,000 to sink into fun projects, and good on him. In the meantime, he spent his time prepping for this, sketching pasta shapes onto graph paper, thoroughly prepared here, at his daughter's soccer practice, and would lie awake at night thinking of pasta. Of all the things I've had to deal with, struggling with insomnia and just thinking in cycles through my brain, pasta's a new one. I haven't done that yet, but you know what? Maybe it would be better than analyzing something I said when I was 6 that was embarrassing. This was a long process, and thousands of pasta pieces later, the sketches actually did become the real deal when Cascatelli was finally born inside the Sfoglini pasta factory in New York's Hudson Valley. Cascatelli means waterfall in Italian. Pashman's pasta comes with a more extended cut than most short shapes, so it's easy to grab with the fork. Forkability, this is important. It is a bucatini half tube with ruffles to create what he calls a sauce trough, and something that is absolutely rare in pasta, so that covers the sauceability. And then what next is you have these ruffles at a 90-degree angle. That means that whatever direction you bite into, you're going to get resistance. You're going to be able to sink your teeth into it, and that covers the tooth sinkability. I think that's actually, everything about this is absolutely fantastic. His new noodle fared well with Angie Rito and Scott Tacchinelli. I did not say that word right. Tacchinelli. I don't know why I mixed those letters. Who are the husband and wife team behind treasured New York City Italian restaurant Don Angie. So they're quoted as saying, I like the texture of it a lot. I think it's holds the sauce really well and definitely sticks to the fork really well. So obviously he was looking at a page of what those three criteria were. His pasta shape even got a Nona seal of approval, which is kind of fantastic. Maria Gialanella came to the United States in 1961 from Italy. She now works at Enoteca Maria on Staten Island. Most people call her Nonna Maria, Nonna meaning grandmother, because she cooks for everyone as if they were a part of her family. She absolutely loved the noodle, calling it beautiful. That's high praise. It really is. Poshman's first batch of 3,700 boxes of cascatelli have already sold out through online purchases. However, he did tell CBS News that more has been made and will soon be available to order on his website. So, for all of you pasta aficionados, which I know there are some, I'm not the only foodie here. I refuse to believe that. There's a new pasta out there. It's been well thought out. It's amazing what you can do with boredom. That's kind of a dismissive way of saying it, and I don't want to dismiss this. I think this is hilarious and absolutely fantastic. Who doesn't want new pasta? I typically use pasta to make mac and cheese because it's cheap. So I'm actually really curious because I've never thought to put it into words before, but I have very much experienced that, like, lack of forkability and lack of sauce ability, because, you know, when you're doing mac and cheese, the, like, nice, creamy, thick mac and cheese, you want to make sure that, like, the cheese gets all into, like, all of the little nooks and crannies of the pasta, right? You don't want a pasta where the cheese is just going to slide off or, like, not get in the middle of it or whatever. So this is legit, guys. I'm excited. I would love to try these noodles. And hopefully you guys found some amusement in a podcaster creating a noodle because he was laid off from a radio job. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I adore the creativity that has come out in terrible circumstances. Obviously, none of us would have chosen the events of the last year and a half or so. But I have adored watching creatives continue to be creative in very unexpected ways. It's very inspiring for me, even silly little things like noodles, because this is someone who could have given up, right? You get laid off from your job, you're panicking, there's a pandemic on, but he didn't. He made his podcast, he made a noodle, and is literally selling out of them because they're fantastic. So good on him. I love this story. Hopefully you guys did too. I'm going to take just a second to catch up on the chat. Pro Mommy Gamer's on break. So thank you. Thank you so much for spending your break with us here. That's amazing. And then Silly saying, do you consider risotto pasta when they say not risotto, orzo? Okay. I don't know. What's the, like, official definition of pasta? I feel like I should know this. I am part Italian, but, I don't know. And then, yeah, we've got the running commentary on the story and 10 grand into pasta, right? I don't even know. Panda says, probably the best topic we've had on eSpot Live. I concur. Love me food. It's amazing. Food is always a winner, as Silly says. Best topic. Really want this pasta now, right? All right, so somebody, whether or not it's me, somebody has to get online and, like, manage to order a box before it sells out again, and I want a review. Like when G-Man went out and got the burger from Mr. Beast's. I need somebody to do that for me. Personal favor here. Check out this pasta and let me know if it is as phenomenal as they're claiming. I think it will be. And if I beat you to it and manage to find myself a box of pasta, I will also give a review. I'll do, like, a live unboxing. Make mac and cheese in front of your very eyes. I don't know. I can't actually promise that. I gotta be careful what I say on here. We shall see. But that would be a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to move on before I dig this hole any deeper. The next topic I have to chat about is about DC Comics. They're doing something kind of fun. They're actually going to let fans choose the next series. That's just so fun. Okay, diving into it a little deeper. DC Comics has just announced that it is letting readers decide its next official series, revealing their new DC Round Robin. Fans will be able to vote from a selection of 16 different story pitches, with the final victor eventually being chosen to be written, drawn, and published in late 2021. So this is happening this year. It's happening now. It's going to be published this year. This is actually a really fun idea. I love this. So not only that, but DC's has also revealed that story teases and sneak peeks will be shown for each hopeful contender with every block of voting until the tournament whittles down a victor. So not only are fans going to get to choose what the next big arc they want to read is, what the next story series is, but they're going to get all these little tidbits as they're voting. They're going to get to see like teasers of different options, and I think that'll help with the voting, help people decide, but it's also just fun. DC isn't actually a stranger to fan voting. This is not the first time something like this has happened. This new vote is actually coming right off the heels of the one DC just held for fans to help name Nightwing's new dog. Not to mention the iconic fan vote from 1988 to decide the fate of Jason Todd's Robin. But I think this is bringing it to a whole new level. I love that kind of audience interaction. Obviously, this whole show is built on the fact that we wanted audience interaction. Yay! So yeah, I adore that. I think that's so fun. I've talked a little bit about just my personal kind of opinions on DC, Marvel, etc. I love the Marvel MCU. I love the DC television universe. But I'm not as familiar with the comics on either end. And so I've been getting to learn about so many things through this show. But one of the things is a little bit more of that comic book world. And I gotta say, nothing against Marvel, because the Marvel comics are also phenomenal. And like I said, the idea of comics being able to just have such expansive universes, multiple universes, I love that for them. Like, it's amazing and kind of overwhelming when you think about possibly trying to catch up. But DC's like, I keep getting really good DC news, like really exciting stuff for their comic books. So good on them. I think it's fun. I'm excited. And again, Marvel, this is not in any way anti-Marvel. I'm one of those why not both people in most things. So I love Marvel, love DC. And Marvel also just held a vote in order to let fans choose the final member of its new X-Men team. So it's not, like I said, it's not a DC only thing, but they're getting bigger and bigger with these votes, man. I think that's so much fun. So, more details on this. The voting for the new DC series is going to be done in rounds. Voting for round number 1 will be occurring between March 31st and April 7th. So this week, it's happening now, guys. If you want to get in on this, get in on it. This is happening on DC's Twitter and Instagram pages. DC Comics will also be holding Q&As with the creatives who put the pitches together. That'll be happening on April 6th. Furthermore, the sneak peeks and teaser art will start being revealed on April 8th, along with the results from the first round. So this is happening, like I said, right now, real quick. If you are a fan of DC, get in on this, because why not? This is kind of historic a little bit. Historic for nerds. I adore it. Once that's done, the subsequent words can be difficult sometimes. The subsequent rounds will continue in quite the same manner until a winner is finally declared. Fans are going to be able to vote on DC's Twitter page for the first 8 matchups of the round robin, and will also be able to vote on 3 different matchups a day on DC's Instagram story. And then as far as the pitches themselves, each of the 16 offerings appear to be just as dynamic and entertaining as the next. So it's not going to be an easy vote, guys. There's not a clear winner, or they wouldn't be doing a vote. It's going to be a really tough choice, especially for the first round, I think, of matchups. It really is kind of cruel that we're getting all of these pitches, but we're only going to get to see one. But, you know, DC has also provided story details for each pitch, and so, I don't know, this reminds me of, whenever they had the show, I'm blanking on the name, but there was a show competition to get, like, an arc on Glee, when Glee was still live. And the whole premise of the show was like, we're gonna pick one person. And they were like, okay, but we really like you three, and you other three, so we're gonna give you three, like, several episode arcs, and then you guys are gonna have guest arcs, and then I also really like you, so you're gonna get a 1 episode once off, and then they did this once off, and they're like, oh, we really like you, so we're gonna just write you an arc too, and I'm, like, almost everybody ended up with an arc. So secretly hoping for that. That, like, they're gonna hype this up, and we are gonna get, like, this full awesome story that people voted on, because that's important when you do a vote, but they're also gonna just release more and more of the other pitches. That's Ellie's theory. I'm gonna make that clear. That's not confirmed at all. Oh, Pro might be saying, the girl I really like didn't win on that Glee one. That's actually really sad. I did notice that, actually. The people that it's not even my type of TV show. I watched that with a friend, and we kind of watched it to, like, tease it a little bit, and then both got super invested. But I feel like they were really strict towards the beginning, especially. And the people that I really, really liked got cut super early on. And then by the end of it, like I said, that was when they're like, oh, but we like all of you so much. So they just kind of kept throwing out arcs to different people. But yeah, there were quite a few people that I was invested in that didn't make the cut. And I was like, oh, dang. But, yeah, so we'll have to see what happens with this. Again, to make it perfectly clear, multiple arcs is not something that DC has talked about. This is an Ellie thing. But going back into what DC has talked about, some of the pitches. We've got Green Lantern, Underworld on Fire. Would be a Kyle Rayner / Kilowog Green Lantern team-up series. There's another one, Etta Candy, Holiday Hero Inc. would see Wonder Woman's friend getting powers of her own. They've teased The Brave and the Bug, Crisis on Infinite Ambush, which is a tale of ambush bug fighting off ambush bugs from across the multiverse. And then Zatanna and the King of Nightmares would see Zatanna struggling with her powers as she faces a brand new foe. They've also teased, what else? There's Lobo / Animal Man, Scorched Earth would see a shift in Main Man's status quo that somehow involves Animal Man. There's Son of the Creeper, would see Creeper's son trying to save him from himself. JLQ would feature a young group of queer heroes assembling to form a league of their own. Robins will feature every hero who's been in Boy Wonder coming together. Paws Off the Justice League will be an all-new Super Pets adventure, which will face off against Jessie Quick Control, where Jessie Quick will trade her speed for elemental powers. Blue Beetle Graduation Day would have Blue Beetle struggling with a new crossroads in his life with the help of Starfire, while Night Runner Love in Paris would see Night Runner fighting rogue celebrity AI. Swamp Thing, House of Secrets, would be a tale of love and the dead, while Harley Quinn would lead the Suicide Squad 7. Last but not least, Asteria, The Last Amazon, will feature Asteria's return to man's world, while Superman and Lois Ignition would see the solar system conspiring to kill the Man of Steel. Those are all, like, the paired off matchups. You can vote right now for all of eight of these matchups of the round 1 of matchups through April 7th. So it's live now. Went live yesterday. Through April 7th. All of these choices would be so difficult. Some of these characters I'm more familiar with than others, but these pitches sound like fun. And like I said, we're going to get more information on the pitches as time goes on and they narrow them down. So pitching in general is really fun. It's like a creative version of brainstorming, right? There's no such thing as a bad idea. And sometimes you just throw out words and they become really, really phenomenal stories. So I think this is absolutely fun. I think I've said that a lot. So today's catchphrase is apparently absolutely fun and absolutely fantastic. And oh no, Rodney's taking over. Yeah, so regardless of which one of these ends up being the final series, this is really, really fun way to do it. Good on DC for just ramping up that audience interaction. It's a great way to build your audience and to really make them feel seen and appreciated. So here's to hoping DC Comics is paying attention to all of the fan feedback. And like I said, maybe considering publishing more than one, even if it's like just that 3-episode arc. Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's super fun again. I've said that enough times. Gonna catch up on the chat real quick. We have G-Man in the chat. Welcome, hello. You, I think, missed the beginning where Rodney took over. It was scary. It was awkward. It's fun though. You can always catch it later. But welcome. Next up to chat about in newsy topics for the day. So CD Projekt Red has finally released a brand new patch for Cyberpunk 2077, which fixes a very long list of bugs and performance issues. There is one very, very important update, which changes how V will sleep in a bed. Hashtag priorities. I love that they address this. So before patch 1.2, V would climb into bed and sleep horizontally facing their pillows with their legs hanging off the side of the frame. Since the game was released in December of last year, that very tiny detail confused a whole lot of people. However, that issue has been fixed. The patch has updated how V climbs into bed, and now they'll face the proper direction, head on pillow, legs on the mattress. It also looks like the developers updated camera direction and animation as V wakes up and stands out of the bed as well. As mentioned, the latest Cyberpunk patch 1.2 has fixed a great many things. There are literally over 500 changes in this patch. This includes one of the most frustrating bugs, which saw police officers spawn directly behind the player. The developer has increased the spawn radius for the Night City police officers when the player commits a crime. Additionally, adjustments have been made to driving and vehicle mechanics, which adds steering sensitivity slider into the option menus for players to adjust themselves. And you can actually check out the full patch notes if you would like to explore the long list yourself. Check it out on CD Projekt Red's site. I think that's fun. We've talked quite a bit about Cyberpunk 2077, I feel like, because there was so much excitement and hype behind it, and then people were super, super frustrated, and I maintained hope. Partially, I was allowed to maintain hope because I am not as familiar with gaming, and I hadn't been sitting around waiting for this particular game for, like, however many years, right? I got excited through proxy of other people, but I was able to kind of look at it and be like, I really do think that they've put so much into this that they're going to make it amazing. Yes, it's a bummer that it was released before it was amazing and that it had so many issues, but I was still really, really hopeful. And it looks like they're stepping up. They really, really are pushing out these patches. They really are working to make it a good experience and get rid of those memes. It's never going to happen. If it's on the internet, it's there forever. Oh well. But yeah, so for those of you who are personally offended or confused by these sleeping habits, the only time I've ever slept with my face like in the pillow and my legs off the bed was when I had sun poisoning on the legs and I couldn't bear to have them touch the sheets. Oh, memories. Moving right along. I chatted a bit, not last time, but a couple of episodes ago about Powerpuff Girls, the live-action reboot. We now have an official Professor Utonium. Whoa! So, the CW's live-action Powerpuff Girls pilot is now called Powerpuff and has cast Donald Faison as Professor Utonium. The reboot is based on Cartoon Network's beloved series by Craig McCracken, originally aired from 1998 to 2005. It was first announced back in August. I talked about it then and was a bit concerned about hands. But it became clear very quickly that the trio would be getting the classic CW treatment. Powerpuff positions the superhero trifecta as very bitter 20-somethings who wish that they had not missed out on a normal childhood due to their crime fighting. The pilot actually began trending in March after they revealed their three leads. Dove Cameron as Bubbles, Chloe Bennett as Blossom, and Yana Perrault as Buttercup. Powerpuff also has an absolute powerhouse production team with writer-producers Diablo Cody, Heather Rayner, and CW staple Greg Berlanti. If you watched the last time I updated when we talked about the casting, I absolutely nerded out about Greg Berlanti. Like, that is for me when it went from, oh, this might be weird, to, oh, this is going to be a legit, like, they're giving it the CW treatment, right? This is going to be a show, and I'm, like, really excited about that. So Variety has confirmed that Faison known from Scrubs, has signed on to play Professor Drake Utonium. The CW will be depicting the scientific genius who created the Powerpuff Girls in a very quirky light. Faison's portrayal is described as debonair with a dash of vanity. I think it suits. He's incredibly proud of his girls, but it seems like their relationship is not at the best place in the start of the series. So in the cartoon, Professor Utonium created Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup by accident when he combined sugar, spice, and everything nice with Chemical X. He became a father figure to the 3Ds, often giving them pep talks or encouraging them in a very stereotypical parental fashion in order to do things like eat their veggies in between fighting bad guys. It sounds like the new portrayal will pay homage to McCracken's original character. Faison is certainly no stranger to television or the Cartoon Network family. He has a massive, extensive list of credits. He's lent his voice talents to the Adult Swim, which is Cartoon Network's late-night alter ego series, Robot Chicken. His most recent live-action television stint was ABC's short-lived primetime drama Emergence. Of course, he is most known for his starring series regular role in all 9 seasons of the hit sitcom Scrubs. Oddly enough, he also has a distant link to the CW's Archieverse, having appeared in 2001 Josie and the Pussycats movie. Faison will no doubt bring his usual charm and comedic flair to the CW series, which has not yet been picked up for a full season. But under Berlanti Productions, Powerpuff is really on the track to receive the same kind of update as Riverdale and Nancy Drew, all of that. The CW has found much success in rebranding iconic content geared towards children into kind of that grittier young adult entertainment. So they're targeting the same audience, which smart. They're taking instead of just kind of trying to renew it or reboot it and targeting the same demographic of the original, they're targeting literally the same audience. They're targeting the people who watched it as kids now as adults. Yeah, it's the Powerpuff Girls franchise is proven itself to be fertile ground for mining. It already has an anime series, comic books, video games, and the 2016 cartoon revival under its green, pink, and blue belt. So I have no doubt that this will be something. Which, that was the way to word it. I don't know if this is going to be the next, 10 season series, but I really do think that it's going to be more successful than I originally thought when I first heard of the concept. Like I said, the people working behind it, the talent they have on the show, they're taking it seriously, and I am intrigued. I think that the basic premise is hilarious. And I am just a fan of pretty much everything Berlanti has ever done. So, I'm excited. This is a fantastic time to drink water. I'm gonna go ahead and head out on my regular scheduled water break right after I catch up on the chat. Pro Mommy Gamer had to dip out. Thank you so much for joining. I don't think you're here anymore, but I really, really appreciate it. It was so good to see you in the chat. Thank you. And yeah. Silly Fun goes Turk! That's great. Thank you again for joining us, Pro Mommy Gamer. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head out on my regularly scheduled water break. For those of you who may not have watched before, this is the place where I lecture people to drink water. Beverages are good, coffee, I love it, tea, all that jazz, it's awesome. But your body needs water. Take care of your kidneys. I'll be right back. and hydrated. Hopefully you guys are too. I am double checking to make sure I did my mic correctly. I think we're good. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into news topics for the day because there's nothing new in the chat from what I can see. So yeah, next up to chat about is YouTube. We're going to jump into YouTube. But first, I'm going to address Silly saying, so remember how last week or Monday... Wait, what? What is happening? No, wait, I want to talk to you. Okay. We can talk. I'm intrigued, Silly. I'm gonna also drink water on stream. I might go on with the topic as we're, okay, we were talking about Shakespeare. Yes, we were talking about Shakespeare, on Monday. I think it was Monday. Specifically, a Shakespearean version of the Avengers. And Star Wars that exists. So Shakespearean adaptations. Silly Fun has had a realization that is about to be shared. This is intriguing. That Clueless, which Donald Faison starred in, is inspired by Emma by Jane Austen. That is true. I was wondering where you're going with this because I'm like, Clueless wasn't, it wasn't Shakespeare, but it was a Jane Austen adaptation. I feel like, again, when we talked about the topic of Shakespearean adaptations, I mentioned that far more of your beloved films than you realize, unless you're a nerd, are adaptations of Shakespeare, even down to certain Disney movies like The Lion King is inspired by Shakespeare, Hamlet in particular. So things like that, like, but the other I think story trope, or oh gosh, that's not the right word. The other author essentially that you have seen far more of than you think is Jane Austen. Specifically, works like Emma, Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility. Those have been made and remade so many times, and I'm not saying that to complain. I adore every single one of the adaptations. And they've also been made into modern versions, including Clueless. So yes, Silly says, I couldn't type quickly enough, and I was very excited to share. I love Jane Austen. Yes, I concur wholeheartedly. That's really fun. Yeah, that's a good tie-in. I don't know, I'm sad that I didn't even think of that, because I have seen Clueless, and it fit very well with the last topic. So thank you so much for sharing, Silly, I appreciate it. And now I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the next topic, unless people have more comments on unexpected adaptations, such as Jane Austen, Shakespeare, etc. Because I love that kind of things. That's my kind of nerd. Alright, so the next thing to chat about is, again, YouTube, specifically YouTube testing the removal of dislike numbers, which is interesting. So YouTube is experimenting right now in removing the display of dislike numbers on videos. This was announced on YouTube's Twitter account. The video platform explained that the experiment is a response to creator feedback. Specifically, the tweet cites the well-being of creators, as well as targeted dislike campaigns that are used to harass certain creators. The tweet explains, quote, we're testing a few new designs that don't show the public dislike count. If you're part of this small experiment, you might spot one of these designs in the upcoming weeks, end quote. So, while the dislike count will not be publicly displayed beneath the video, creators will still be able to access the exact number of dislikes in YouTube Studio, which is the system's backend tool. So this means that user feedback will still be provided to those that need it, but any negatives that may come from the number being publicly visible may be negated. YouTube does note that this experiment right now is very small scale, only for select users. There is no guarantee that this is the direction YouTube will head in. For now, this is just kind of a test to gather feedback and study the results of the change. I think this is interesting, for sure. That's okay. So Silly kind of beat me to it. I like this idea in theory, but struggling with my distrust of YouTube. Yes, I theoretically, I think this is a very good idea, but I also think that, it's like hiding a negative review, right, can be misleading for a consumer. But at the same time, there is 100% validity in that argument that says that this just open-ended negativity that's available for whatever reason. You know, scroll through the comments on a YouTube video sometime. You'll find dislikes because somebody didn't like somebody's outfit, or somebody didn't like the way somebody looked, or somebody didn't like somebody's accent. There are some absolutely disgusting hate campaigns that have been lobbied against specific creators simply because of a bullying tactic, essentially. However, there have also been moments and times where videos were disliked for kind of valid reasons. And that feedback from other people who've seen the video before you can be very useful when you're determining whether or not you want to watch something, invest your time in it, or risk seeing something you don't want to see, right? So this is kind of one of those touchy topics, and theoretically, I think it's interesting and even good, because, like I said, the idea is not to remove the dislikes so much as remove the visibility of it from immediate access of viewers, leaving the feedback, the negative feedback, to the creator. But then you think about it from the other end, and you're like, okay, well, if the point of this is to protect the creator, and the creator's the only one who can still see it, isn't that a bit counterproductive? So all in all, Ellie's thoughts on this particular topic are, I'm glad they're experimenting with something to address this topic, 100%. Because it is, especially I think as the internet is expanding and more people are able to create from home and do their own things, and addressing widespread internet bullying is important. And so good on YouTube for addressing it in some way, shape, or form. I don't personally know if this particular model will work, but that's why they're testing it, right? So good on them for doing something. I'm curious, I guess, all things said. I'm just really curious to see how this turns out, what ends up happening with it. If there's any additional news, obviously, I will be sharing it with you guys. Because I'm personally invested now to see if this works, and if it doesn't, what they kind of come up with to experiment with next. Yeah, that's all I really got. I'm gonna catch on the chat real quick. Silly says, again, I like this idea in theory. I'm struggling with my distrust of YouTube. There's definitely some disgusting hate that is spread online. I agree. And it can absolutely ruin a creator's numbers. 100%. Criticism for the sake of criticism is harmful, but constructive criticism is beneficial to all. That is, yes. That's very wise. I'm sorry that my face seems like I'm surprised that there's wisdom coming from the chat. I'm just kind of processing, but very, very well put. Because it's true, and I agree, that when you criticize, even if the criticism is true, if the only reason you're criticizing is to criticize, then why? Just don't. Nobody needs that. But if you're criticizing to help somebody grow, or to lovingly correct something that I, personally need to work on in my life sometimes. Yeah, time and place for everything, I guess. But also, I feel like, from a creative perspective, I would be far more receptive to criticism from people that I know, right, and work with, and are peers on a creative scale or whatever, than just from, or even frankly, from people invested. Like, the people I see in the comments, the people that chat with me, the people that watch the show regularly. Yes, criticize, feedback, 100%. I've said this before, I'll say it again. We love your feedback. I want it. I want to know what you guys want to see, all that jazz, and we're trying to make this a show for you guys. But, like, the random people that just, like, pop up and do thumbs down and, like, boo, I'm like, why though? That's not criticism. That's just, like, that, or that's not constructive criticism. That's just negativity. Silly says, I'm hurt. I can be wise. I've seen Clueless. Very true. That is very true. And then Wolf says, well, the ones doing it only showing their true intelligence and dislike for themselves. That is true, too. Yeah. I love this conversation, guys. Thank you for letting me go off on that tangent. Moving right along to the next topic. I don't really have a very good transition here, but hey-oh. Pokemon! There you go. That's just the best transition I've been able to come up with, is just yelling the next word. Pokemon Company has officially announced a new children's book, which is fun. Or I think multiple books. The Pokemon Company is publishing, it's a series of interactive books for young children. Pikachu Press, which is the book publishing arm of the Pokemon Company, has announced the new series titled Pokemon Primers. So Pokemon Primers ABC book and Pokemon Primers 1, 2, 3 book will allow players with, or will provide players rather, with a very fun and engaging way to learn all about the alphabet and numbers while introducing them to the world of Pokemon. So both of these Pokemon Primers books are board books. They also come with 100 different flaps to lift and reveal, letting young readers explore and find new secrets. Pokemon Primers ABC book and Pokemon Primers 1, 2, 3 book are both available at retailers now, and 2 additional books, which will be Pokemon Primers Shape book and Pokemon Primers Colors book, are also set to be released later this year. The new young readers books are just the latest sign that the Pokemon franchise is really about as multi-generational as Disney movies or superheroes. The average 10-year-old who played Pokemon Red and Blue are now in their 30s. That means that many of these kids, right, who grew up playing Pokemon now have kids of their own, right? And who doesn't want to share the things that they adore with their children? And now there's a very new way to do that and to blend it in with education. Always good. And so, yeah, like, if you think about it, that generational and audience loyalty is definitely there with Pokemon. You have things like Charizard cards that are given the same rarefied air that Mickey Mantle rookie cards are. Charizard cards are selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars online. So, like I said, there's definitely still a very loyal audience and fan base and demographic for Pokemon, and they're all having kiddos. And so now Pokemon is extending new things for the children. I think it's pretty cool. Both Pokemon Primers ABC book and Pokemon Primers 1, 2, 3 book are available to purchase now. You can actually order the books and pre-order the rest of the series on Amazon. So if that's something that interests you, or if you have little ones and don't know how to teach them their ABCs, go check it out. It's like a new version of Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Oh gosh, that brings back memories. Any way to make learning fun is a worthwhile investment. And like I said, to have that connection for parents, I think is super important. Whatever that may be. I adore science fiction, and I'm sure at least some of that came from my parents. And yeah, I think it's really fun to kind of bridge that generational gap and have, I personally know several people who, very much enjoyed playing Pokemon, who now have little ones of their own. And so I love seeing things like this. Gonna catch up on the chat really quick. Silly says, Ellie, I like your top, by the way. Thank you! I like it too. Gonna preen a little bit. Alright, moving on. Wolf says, and your point, I have red, blue, and yellow. Bulbasaur rules. Yes. That's fantastic. Yeah. Pokemon making kids books. I lost my place, and so now this is an even more awkward transition than it usually is. You're welcome. Next up, Apex Legends skins have been delayed after the company rebrands mid-promotion. Fun stuff there. So this week, we were supposed to see the release of a new set of branded skins for Apex Legends, done in collaboration with streetwear label Chinatown Market, but that company's decision to rebrand in between the skins announcements and release means Respawn currently has them on hold. So the skins were originally due to release on March 30th, but that same day, Chinatown Market announced a major decision to rebrand the entire company after criticism that its name, which was a tribute to New York's Canal Street, a major part of the city's Chinatown district, was an act of cultural appropriation, which management has, to its credit, acknowledged was not our name to use. So Respawn now says that the skins will be, quote, back with a fresh look after the rebrand, end quote. Interesting timing, but for a valid reason, I think. The interesting thing here is that it would have been super, super easy for them to delay the rebranding a day, right? It would have been easy, but they didn't. And I think that is admirable. I don't know necessarily all of the details behind it, but, you know, there's a fine line. I've talked a little bit about branding and copyright and things like that before, but there's a very fine line, I think, between that hat tip to something else and taking or appropriating or stealing copyrighted information, names, labels, etc. So who knows what happened behind the scenes, if this was legal or just the marketing team being called out or something like that. But, like I said, I think as frustrating it is for fans who have been, like, looking forward to these new skins, good on them for making the decision and following through with it, because that shows a genuineness as a company, right? Instead of just, like I said, pushing back the rebranding just one day to release these and let them be, and then rebrand and worry about them later. So interesting stuff there. G-Ben's back in the chat. It me! I'm a person in my 30s who started with Pokemon Blue. There we go. That was obviously about the last topic. Moving right on. Next thing to chat about. Xbox Live Gold subscribers have been protesting April's free games. Which, from first glance, is confusing. So today, Microsoft revealed April's games with gold lineup Xbox Live Gold subscribers on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S. That was a tongue twister of a sentence. Like March's offering, April's offering has left a substantial part of the Xbox community unhappy. For April, Microsoft is offering subscribers 4 games, 2 of which are Xbox One games, and 2 of which are Xbox 360 games. And this has been the offer for a while now. When the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S dropped, many assumed a next-gen game would be added to the mix, but this has yet to happen. Not only has this not happened, but the quality of the offer has been on a bit of a what word mouth happened there? Decline. There we go. I found it. So for the month of April, subscribers will be dished the following: Vikings, Wolves of Midgard, Truck Racing Championship, Dark Void, and Hardcore Uprising. So for those of you who don't know, as I didn't before looking at this topic, the former 2 games are Xbox One games, while the latter 2 are Xbox 360 titles. Between the 4 of them, the most recent is from 2019, while the next newest after that is from 2017. So it's not a particularly glamorous lineup, especially if you remove, like, the one Vikings, Wolves of Midgard from the equation. And so as a result, many Xbox gamers are protesting the lineup and the current state of the service. Honestly, if what's offered for free bothers you, you can always pay the few extra bucks, upgrade to Game Pass Ultimate. You'll get the same service, but with a massive library of games to download and play. Game Pass Ultimate is available on PC as well. So this is one of those things where it's a bummer for sure when you're hoping for something and you're not getting what you're hoping for. But at the same time, let's keep in mind, this is free. These are the free offerings. I haven't, again, y'all know I'm new to gaming, so I don't have that experience of what's been offered for free consistently before. And so I guess I certainly understand if you're expecting a certain quality because that's what's been set, the precedent that's been set, and then you get lower quality or less or whatever. I can understand some irritation there. I'm usually thrilled because free. I'm just, anything free is like, yay, free. It's free. And if you want, like I said, this massive catalog of games, you can get that Game Pass Ultimate. So there it is. For those of you who might be bummed if you fall into that category of that Xbox Live Gold subscription, I'm sorry. That's a bummer. I genuinely, I don't want to brush that off or negate anyone's frustration. But, it's free? I don't know. Wolf saying free, great stuff, right? I agree. Free is always better than not free. But there we go. Wolf also says, do you know what Midgard is? Are we talking, like, in the Viking mythology? Are we talking about, sci-fi? Are we talking about... Midgard's been used in a lot of different contexts. I've never played that particular game. Y'all have seen all of the games I've ever played, pretty much. Five Nights at Freddy's for Halloween and Portal. But yes, I'm familiar with Thor, Midgard, all of that. MCU! If nothing else, but also Stargate SG-1. And also mythology from school. So, I'm familiar vaguely with Midgard, with all of that. Yes. One more topic to chat about today, and that is E3. There's been a lot of kind of back and forth with E3, specifically like concerns about a paywall. And so I want to chat about that a little bit. Multiple publishing sources told VGC this past month that the event organizer for E3 had been pitching plans to charge a fee for some of 2021's planned content, such as the on-demand game demos or maybe a premium package with extra access. Different sources were saying different things. One source suggested that the premium package had been pitched at $35, so the idea would be that there would be a free content and then, like, maybe different tiers for different content available for pay packages. And that upset a lot of people mostly because it had been advertised, like ESA had been advertising as a free open event. And so, yeah, with that particular situation, I don't even think it was necessarily frustration that certain things would have to be paid for so much as that feeling like they went back on what they had said. Because, obviously, over the past year and this year and onward, we've been trying to figure out how to adjust to an online world, right? It's just not safe at the moment to gather hundreds or thousands of people into an itty-bitty building for an expo. And while that's a bummer, people are working on trying to move online. And there's also been a variety of different attempts at making it equitable for creators, for the people who typically would make money from these events, etc. So there have been people playing around with certain things, even if it's like an auction to get a one-on-one with a particular actor or something like that. There's a lot of playing around happening. There's a lot of brainstorming happening. There's a lot of people freaking out over hearing certain things, that things might have to be paid for and all that when everything's a little bit up in the air. However, in an update, ESA has insisted that no elements of the digital event will require a purchase. So, for those of you who started hearing those rumors, or even possibilities, because I'm not gonna say that those conversations didn't happen. Like I said, everybody's trying to figure out how to make this work best. You know, how to be online and still have a profitable Expo, right? That makes sense that these conversations may have happened. But for those of you who might have heard of those conversations and been upset because you were promised one thing and it felt like they were going back on it, ESA has recently come out and denied that they're going that direction. They're going to maintain this as a free event, which will be rebranded as the, quote, electronic entertainment experience instead of Expo. Obviously, it's online. That makes sense. So the push forward is still with plans for a digital event this summer rather than an in-person event. I had mentioned last time that San Diego Comic-Con is working towards a limited in-person event that they're hoping to run in November. And so if you were hoping that that would also extend to E3 or that they would follow that, it doesn't look like they are. It is still slated to be a fully electronic experience. And it's still slated to be free. Woohoo! Yeah, so just a little bit of peace of mind there for anybody who is frustrated, upset, or concerned about E3. You'll still be able to check it out online for free. Again, I love free. Who doesn't love free? And yeah, that's it. That's all I got to chat about today. That's all the newsy topics. So as always, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching and supporting. And I have a new streamer that I'd like to maybe put a little link in the chat for, if I can paste correctly. Brand new DVSI streamer, Elevated. So for those of you who thought that last week's bonus Ellie was a once-off deal, it's not. This was the official launch of my personal channel. I will be using this channel called Elevated, link in the Twitch chat, to learn how to play video games. I'm my first official, not quite backdoor pilot. So my first episode after said backdoor pilot will be tomorrow. I will be live. Same time I do eSpot for now. It's going to be a little bit, what are the words? I might be shifting the time. I will keep you guys updated on both my stream tomorrow as well as eSpot Live as I go for any time changes, as always. But for now, it's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to be 3 p.m. if you're on the other coast. By popular demand, I'm going to be continuing with Portal. I'm very, very, very open to all of your ideas for what you want me to do. So all of the games that you've been pitching to me, Phasmophobia, all those things, as much as I don't want to play horror, I still intend on playing. I didn't know anything about Portal, so I went into it thinking, oh, I'll try it for a day and then try something else, and apparently it's a campaign, and the people who watched would like to see me continue it, which is very flattering. I've got my motion sickness medication on hand this time around, so hopefully I'll be able to. I'm also gonna tweak the settings a little bit to try to eliminate any sort of awkward motion sickness again. Hopefully I'll be able to play a little longer, and backup plan would be to jump on another game if Portal is something that I still struggle with. So come give me a follow. Elevated on Twitch. Check out the stream tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. if you're on the West Coast. And I really hope you guys have fun with me, because I have been doing this show now for a while, and I've loved everything I've gotten to learn. I've loved learning about gaming and about lawsuits, of all things, and I've loved getting to know you guys, and so I would adore having you guys jump over to my stream where I can learn about gaming hands-on. There's an official clip somewhere floating around out there of me discovering movement, which that's not embarrassing at all. It's kind of funny. So yeah, thank you guys so much for all of your support on eSpot Live, for your support for DVSI Entertainment. Silly asked if there's a fund to send me saltines and ginger ale. We'll see how tomorrow goes, and maybe I'll open a GoFundMe. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I'm super, super stoked about this new branch, this spin-off. And yeah, thank you for your support of me and Rodney. Thank you for your support of DVSI Entertainment. We appreciate you guys more than we can really say. We've got some exciting stuff coming up. new streamers. I did that the wrong direction. New streamers. New albums that are coming to Zombie in a Jar, which is what I listen to in the background. Lots of new stuff coming out. New patches. I'll be able to pitch more details in the future. But yeah, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for chatting. And that's it. So I will be live not on the DVSI channel. I will be live on my own channel, Elevate in the chat. Or Elevated. Let me pitch the correct name. Live on Elevated tomorrow, 3 p.m/6 p.m. And then I will be back here on Monday, Eastbound Live, DVSI Entertainment, at 3 p.m/6 p.m. I'm stalling a little bit because I feel like there was something else I forgot to say, but I don't know what it is. So thank you guys. Thank you. In between now and tomorrow, if you want to check out my stream, or if you're unable to, then in between now and Monday, I hope you guys stay happy, healthy, hydrated, and as always, stay devious.